Reigning World Rallycross champion Petter Solberg is sat top of the table at the midway point in 2015. Now, for the first time this season, RX leaves Europe and travels across the Atlantic. The chasing pack will all be hoping the Norwegian slips up. It might be time to put your skates on in Canada. Hello and welcome to round 7 of the FIA World Rallycross Championship here in Trois-Rivières, Canada. Situated midway between Montreal and Quebec, the famous street circuit here plays host to RX for a second time as we visit North America. With 6 rounds down and 5 different winners, the 2015 season has been jam-packed with action, excitement and drama from the very first round. The season kicked off in Portugal and saw a host of new drivers and teams making their RX debut. Round 1 Portugal was wet and wild on the track, and combined with the expanded depth of driving talent this season, some very high-profile names failed to make the final. It was the new boy in the new team who shone brightest in the murky conditions. Johan Kristoffersson, driving for VW Team Sweden, was fast all weekend and nailed the final to take his first win straight out of the box. Round 2 saw a new venue for the championship as the teams took on the legendary Hockenheim circuit, where the German petrolheads were shown what rallycross drivers and machines are all about. Debuting in Hockenheim was the all-new JRM team, introducing the classic Mini Mark to the formula. Timmy Hansen struggled all weekend but fought his way back to 3rd place, despite Robin Larsson's boisterous attempt to take the final spot on the podium away by force. But it was the defending champion Petter Solberg who took the spoils, putting him and his SDRX team top of the tables. Round 3, Belgium, and Kristoffersson was showing his round 1 victory was no fluke before a cool puncture in the semis ended his weekend. 2014 World Championship runner-up Topi Heikkinen was back on form, taking the fight to Petter in the final. The Finn came out on top, making it 2 wins in 2 years at Meta.
This is my place, this is my city.
Great Britain hosted round 4 as RX left mainland Europe, crossing the English Channel to the home of the sport at Lydden Hill. Swede Mattias Ekström was flying at Lydden, and as ever the rivalry with Solberg was intense. Both won their semis to take the front row in the final. Ekström jokered first and started to hunt down Solberg, who had used his tyres wisely, saving a new set of boots for the final. It proved to be an inspired piece of race strategy by Mr. Hollywood, who just popped out in front from his joker lap to take his 2nd win of the year. Sometimes you need to make your own luck in rallycross. Estering in Germany was the venue for round 5, and all the talk was about one man, Davy Genet. The Frenchman dominated the event from the start in his Peugeot. He won heats 1 to 3 by an ever-increasing margin, cruised through his semi, and then obliterated the field in the final to take one of the most dominant victories in recent RX history. If Lydden Hill is the home of rallycross, then Helios in Sweden is its beating heart and soul. 40,000 revelling fans provided all the heart, while the famous Helios track gives the event its rallycross soul, delivering the final of the season to date. Mattias Ekström was leading with a lap to go, but fellow Swede Timmy Hansen got himself into 2nd and was piling on the pressure in the latter stages. Ekström looked a dead cert to make it 2 wins in 2 seasons at Helios, but Hansen, full of spirit, made his move on the very last corner of the last lap of the day to cross the line first. He went mad, the fans went mental, and the team were a little excited too. However, the celebrations were short-lived. Hansen's move was deemed to be illegal by the stewards, and he was demoted to 2nd place.
That last lap, I watched it 100 times, I think. It was so amazing, you know, the way that I came out of the joker, and Mattias was actually quite far ahead, but in my mind, it was never too late.
I felt I drove the ultra inside line, so there is no space left to pass, and then I had a boom in the door, and Timmy had to run up the inside.
I just instantly went for the gap because that was what I've been waiting for, and I managed to get up the inside and pass before the finish. So it was a really, really cool move, cool thing to have done. It's a shame it wasn't legal.
For me to sit here and say that what he did is rude, it's not. Everybody are here and everybody want to win, so you have to try. and being the gentleman driving behind to the finish line, no one remembers as well. So this will for sure be one of the races I will remember forever.
It's a shame they deemed it illegal, but you know, at least I tried.
After the stewards made their decision, Ekstrom decided he wanted the first place trophy for his victory and took the EKS team down the road to Peugeot Hansen to make the handover. A gesture that may have left a mark in the minds of the Hansen team, and it could take a while to heal.
Everybody allowed to be disappointed. That's what sport is all about. And in our case, I mean, if you know that you're the winner, I mean, sorry, then the trophy goes to the winner.
I wouldn't hand over the first place trophy like that. After that, I came to him. I went to his team alone, in private clothes, no cameras on, and I said a few words to his team, congratulating them to a good performance. But with cameras and the way he did it, that's not how grown-ups do.
I never have any hard feelings to anyone because I love having hard competitors. That's what motor racing is all about. Seriously, what happened yesterday is history already tomorrow, and you have to look forward and try to collect new trophies and continue racing.
Solberg has a 44-point lead in the championship over Kristoffersen, followed by Bakkerud and Hansen. With 7 events left to score points, the season has plenty more twists and turns to come. 4 different marques occupy the top places in the team's championship, with Ford OMSE holding a slender lead at the head of the table. Trois-Rivières sees the return of American racer Tanner Faust and features 2 Canadians, Patrick Carpentier, who finished an impressive 6th here last year, and hometown favourite LP de Moulin, reigning Canadian NASCAR champion, both driving the minis for JRM Racing.
This weekend is going to be a big show for our town. A lot of the drivers coming from, you know, WRC, but from DTM and then from many type of racing. So for me, again, it's a privilege to be there and be among those guys, because those drivers are coming from all over the world. So they're going to be quick, they're going to be on top of their stuff really quick, and that's why being part of that team this weekend is going to be a big help for me.
The RX Lights category has a standalone event in Canada, the Intercontinental Cup. As ever, the junior category will showcase the rising stars of Rallycross. Coming up, we review the action from Heats 1 and 2. We've got the best of the action from Heat 3. In Heat 4, we'll see who makes the semi-final cut. Then we have the Supercar semi-finals live, the live RX Lights final, and the World RX Supercar final live. Here's the track preview presented by Ion Cameras. Back to Canada then for the 2nd year in a row, a part of the famous Trois-Rivières circuit, 61% asphalt and 39% dirt, and there have been some changes to the circuit this year. 1,370 metres long, and it starts with this very long straight. The start coming in from the left where we are now, under the famous bridge, and then down to turn 1, the fastest part of any rallycross track this year, over 200 kilometres an hour. The open right-hander, and then down towards a very tight right with a bump on the braking zone. Out towards the wall, in towards the inside, and the first of the jumps into the horse track section onto the gravel. Standard lap goes left, the Joker lap goes around the outside here. This is important to get the transition from left to right correct, very close to the wall on the right and the narrowest section of the track. A long right-hander, concrete barriers on both sides of the road, and then into the left, and it's the second jump out of the horse trotting track. Down towards the final corners, gravel braking onto a tarmac section, very slippery. We've seen a few in the tyres on the outside there. A right-hander, and then make sure not to cross the curbs too far on the left. Finish line is under the bridge. As the heats got underway, Petter Solberg was the first victim of the day. He was worried even before the start, and as the lights changed, it was clear he had a big problem. Out front, Reini Snittish led after turn 1, but Ekstrom was chasing him hard. In the end, it was the Joker lap that put the Swede out front for the win. Larson and Faust were the only 2 drivers to get away clean in race 2. The American joked immediately, but after being held up in traffic, ended up behind Bakkerud, who held him off to the finish. Unlike Larson, who was out-dragged to the line by Rustad, showing great pace for Munich Motorsport. Doran and Heikkinen fought for position into turn 1, but behind them Dave Genet spotted a gap and slotted through into the lead. Doran looked to be on the pace, but clipped the wall and would go no further, while Genet set the fastest time of the heat so far. Kristoffersen won a thrilling Turn 1 battle in his race, while at the back of the pack car Pontier ended up in the wall. Kristoffersen was pushing hard out front and clipped the wall too. Hansen capitalised and took the flag first, setting fastest time to give Peugeot Hansen a 1-2 overall. For the world champion, things weren't looking so good.
The exhaust burned out, cracked and in 2 pieces. So just have to focus on this now and get it right for the next heat and just hope for the best, you know.
I think it will be fixed for heat 2?
With my guys, yes.
True to his word, Solberg's car was 100% for Heat 2, and he set about destroying the field, posting a time nearly 3 seconds faster than anyone else would manage. Robin Larsen retired on the start line, leaving just 4 cars in race 2. After a great start, Anton Markland was a clear leader, and despite hitting the wall twice, the polo he uses here in Canada held together to the line. The long run down to turn 1 failed to separate the front runners in race 3. After the contact played out, it was Timers Janov who led all the way to the final lap, when a mistake on his joker let Baccarat through for the win. The final race of the day saw a disaster for Kristoffersen in turn 1, contact with Nittish leaving him with broken suspension. This left Ekstrom and Hansen to resume their Helios rivalry. When it came down to the jokers, Hansen's was perfectly judged and fully committed. He won the race, placed second in the heat, and tops the overnight leaderboard as a result.
When I took my joker, it was absolutely perfect, and the full lap after that, I just saw I gained the Matthias, and when he finally took the joker, I knew it would be close, but it was really nice to get my revenge and come out in front.
Timmy Hansen then leads overnight with Matthias Ekstrom second. Hansen's teammate Genet is third with the world champion Solberg in fourth. Tanner Faust, Haken, Markland and Kristoffersen are in at the moment. Stoll, Munich, Doran are out.
Well, here we are at JRM with the 2 minis up on the stands. Let's try and get a word with the drivers. First up on the left is Patrick Carpentier. Patrick, it's great to see you here again at Trois Rivières. Great to see the minis in action again, but heats 1 and 2 weren't so lucky for you guys. Talk us through what happened to you.
No, exactly. Heat 2 was not too bad. You know, we made the close stop 12-13 in the second heat, but the first one was very bad for us. I didn't expect that. You know, I tangled with a car and then hit the wall and damaged the car quite a bit. So the team fixed it up for the second one, but it puts us so far behind. You know, you got to have 4 perfect heat like we did last year, and we didn't have that. But Marley's Millamood car is fun to drive, and I'm enjoying it again.
And it's fun to drive, and it looks so good on the circuit. So at full attack, you must get some, you know, great moments.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I mean, the car handling is unbelievable through corners and stuff. So I really enjoy it. So the second one was more like, okay, I got to finish this one. I really got to do my laps and finish it. And I had 2 good guys in front of me with Liam Doran and Peter Solberg. So times were not too bad. But tomorrow, hopefully, we go back to attack and make some times, you know. But now we're kind of cornered in the box, so we'll see.
But it's good to be racing in front of a home crowd.
Oh, it's amazing. I mean, just to be racing with these guys. This year we got Mats Ekstrom is here and all these guys, and I can see the level from last year is so much higher, so much more competitive. This series, I think, to me, is one of the most competitive series in the world, and just to be a part of it is unbelievable.
Thank you very much, merci. Let's go across the garage. See if we can find Louis-Philippe Dumoulin. So, Louis-Philippe, first of all, it's great to see you racing here, and how does this compare to other cars you've raced in your career?
It is nothing compared to whatever else I drove so far. I mean, JRM team gave me a very fun car to drive. Now we had some bad luck with the engine, and that WeatherTech Jean Coutu car had some problem overheating, and then we had to play around that. So it limited our practice time today, and I would have need to be in the car to drive a little more, but I think we saved it today. The 2 heats we did. Bring it back home and make sure the guys can work on it overnight.
So heats 3 and 4, what's the plan? Do you think you can make the semis?
Well, that's the goal, make the semis, and then, have as much fun as possible with a car that is, doing good, reliable-wise, and then, yeah, I mean, I think if we could put those laps together and be fast and, have some fun competing with those guys, because they're really good drivers out there, the best in the world.
And just in a word, how good is it to do this in front of a home crowd?
Of course it is, right? We had the NASCAR Grand Prix last weekend, and in front of my people, it's always fun.
Merci.
Cheers.
Hello, my name's Andrew Coley. I'll be looking after you this afternoon. Alongside me is Carl Nadeau, local racing driver. And of course we have Neil Cole reporting from the Spotters Tower and the paddock. On then to the early races of Heat 3, those who'd had problems yesterday. Kristoffersson here leading into turn 1, and that was where he broke his rear suspension. He managed to get around the rest of the race yesterday, but a bad time that sees him in this early heat race. Larson behind him thought he'd retired for the weekend. They broke apart in the transmission they've never broken before, and somehow managed to source it out here in Canada. Great to see him back out. Kristoffersson putting on a fantastic display of car control and setting a decent time. Race 2, and it was a great start by Toby Heikkinen. Manfred Stoll as well challenging down the straight, but it was his teammate Tanner Faust who had a look up the inside into turn 1. Thought better of it in the end, and it was Stoll who led as the cars went out onto the gravel section. Later in the race, as the Joker laps played out, Stoll and Faust went into the Joker. Heikkinen around the standard lap on the inside, and Faust this time managed to get ahead of Heikkinen, and Heikkinen had a look up the inside but thought better of it. A win for Stoll. Heat 3, race 3. 5 of the quickest drivers lined up on the grid. Tommy Rustad doing a great job here for Munich Motorsport. Davy Genet, Anton Markland, Timo Timosjanov and Liam Doran. Marshall's thumbs up. There's the view from the Spotters Tower. They're up on the top of the building with us in the eye on Spotters Tower. 5 cars away from the line. Good start, Timosjanov and Markland as well with a decent start. Doran's going to slot in behind them. Dreadful start for Rustad. He drops back. Is Markland going to dare to take a dive up the inside of Timosjanov? Thinks better of it. Oh, Doran into the side of Markland. He's going to try and gas it out around the outside down towards turn 2. Is that going to open the door behind for Genet? Not quite. So tidy, fair old tidy start. Nobody having too many dramas.
It funnels extremely tight. Right after corner 1, they carry tons of speed there. And oh, we got
Doran
a Joker
straight into the Joker. So Doran into the Joker with Rustad behind. Doran then obviously felt he'd lost out at the start. He feels he's quick, although he's had some drive shaft issues. Only just made it to the starting grid, but he feels he's faster. He Joker straight away. The right thing to do?
Well, if the first 3 guys are fighting, I'm afraid that Doran might catch them up a little too quickly, so it's going to slow him down a bit. So let's see how it plays out.
So Doran's made himself some air. Are these kind of guys hold themselves up sufficiently? I wonder if any of them will slot to the Joker. That Markland is late on the brakes there. Gains on Timosjanov in the run down towards turn 1. Timosjanov not using all the road on the exit. Markland is.
Markland has a much better line. His wheels are straightened way before he can be on the gas. He's got a straight line in order to hit the brake before the 3rd corner.
And Markland going straight to the Joker lap. So Markland decides he wants to be released. Is Liam going to get up the inside? Liam coming in from the right-hand side of your screen, but Markland's got this one. Liam's going to try and make the cut back. Oh, into the back of Markland. Contact between those two. Doran has a look up the inside again. Has that broken his front left suspension? It looked like his wheel moved, but he's just held onto it. Just misses the tyres on the exit from the stadium section as well. So Liam not quite quick enough on the 2 laps in between, and Markland got out in front of him.
And if it's not broken, Doran's suspension, at least it's going to be bent a bit. So it's for sure it's going to play with his alignment. And braking zone in corner 1, if you have your wheels toe out a little bit, it might be a little harder to hit the brake right.
Can be a little bit tricky. Genet through the right-hander, chasing down Timosjanov now. Lovely job. You can see the Hansen team up there in the Spotters Tower. And Timosjanov down into the Joker lap. Liam Doran, we're hearing, is going to get a warning for excessive pushing from the stewards. Hearing that, and Timosjanov just gets out in front of Markland, but again, slightly messy turning. And we're seeing as people come out the Joker lap, they're compromised on their line into that right-hander, but then it's very difficult to get up the inside of them into the next right-hander.
Especially that the corners after are so tight. You need to straighten the car in order to be there as close as possible to the apex. But of course, if you hit it, your race might be over.
So the only person who hasn't jokered is Davy Genet. He's out front. Timosjanov takes a defensive line. Timosjanov's got a problem. The car's crabbing badly. Rear left suspension looks like maybe damaged on Tim's car. Oh, is it rear right? Has he got a puncture? It's very hard to see. Either way, Markland slots in front there. So Genet is on the last lap. He's got a Joker. Over the jump, sideways on the landing from Timmer. There, finally, now we see Genet. Oh, Timmer spins, he gets collected by Liam. Into the back of Liam goes Rustad as well. So that's a problem for those three. Timosyanov facing the wrong way. We know he had car issues, and that's caused a problem for Doran as well. Maybe he's going to retire too. No such problems for Davy Genet. He waited it out, jokered on the last lap, sweeps around the right-hander now. And it's Genet, who was so fast yesterday with his teammate Timmy Hansen, is going to take the win in race 3, heat 3. Great job by him. Stayed out of trouble. He just stayed out of trouble. Markland crosses the line in second place. And we can see from our commentary position that Rustad has come over the line too. And in the middle of the track, the cars are still stranded. There we are, Doran. A little look at Timosyanov. Can't really blame Timmer for that. There's Liam Spotter. That's disappointing for Liam. He's going to struggle to make it to the semis now.
Seems like Genet just slotted in 3rd place with the timing, so it's really, really quick.
Here's the result of Heat 3, Race 3. Dave Genet with the win from Markland, and Rustad a DNF for both Timmer and Doran. Genet slots in 3rd. Good time by him as well. There is Liam Doran, not looking too happy. And we'll be able to have a look at the replays in a minute and maybe see just what happened to Timosyanov. So Timmer's car okay on lap 1 from the looks of things. That was where Liam just ran into the side of Markland.
Doran was on fire. He did a few aggressive moves during the run and a lot of contacts. Of course, the steward saw everything, especially there with Markland. Well, there's a bit of pushing, but that was excessive.
I think that's where he got the warning for. He was okay then, and then look, Liam had the car set up lovely. He was on the gas on the exit there, but unfortunately with Timmer spinning in front, no way that he could get through. Genet with a great win. Maybe we can find out just what Liam's been saying on the radio.
Just such bad luck yesterday and here in this first heat of today. Is there anything you can do in Heat 4 to make it through to the semi?
Fastest time maybe, and try and catch Petter. We're going to do everything we can with the team and just see what we can get, like time-wise. And hopefully there's a few other people have had some issues, so it's just down to luck, like you say. But it looks like we're digging for bad luck at the moment.
Well done, thanks.
Cheers.
Final heat race time then for Heat 3. These are the really fast boys from yesterday. Petter Solberg, Timmy Hansen, Matthias Ekström, and teammates Andreas Backward and Reinis Nittisch. A little bit of rivalry building between the 3 cars on the left-hand side of the grid, Solberg, Hansen and Ekström. There is Kenneth looking down at the start, and it was a great start by Timmy. Matthias is still alongside him, but Timmy's got the inside line here. Backward as well is going to try and out-drag him. Look at Solberg, though, on the dirty part of the track on the inside. Goes up the inside, but then runs wide on the exit. Solberg from 1st down to 4th. Nittisch slots in behind him, and it's Hansen who goes into turn 2 in the lead.
Impressive job by Timmy Hansen. He kept his composure, he stayed calm, and he decided to take the line anyway, and the line was his. Solberg was a little over-aggressive, which is something we don't see too often from Solberg.
Backward jokering on the first lap. Petter Solberg, who else would go on the dirty line down the inside and outbrake everyone into turn 1? He did it, but unfortunately, of course, just not enough grip. So will Solberg joker on the next lap to try and get himself some clear air, or is he going to follow these guys? We know in front of him that Hansen and Ekström are quick, and in fact, down the straight, they look to be pretty equal on top speed. Ekström with a last-minute decision to come across Solberg again sideways. Look how early he's on the throttle, but he's going to be using his tyres quite hard.
I'm afraid, yeah, we see a lot of smoke coming from the back tyres of Peter Solberg. And on the, oh my God.
Solberg in the wall, so Solberg clips the wall. Rear left looks okay, Carl?
It looks good so far. The car is still behaving really, really good on gravel, which is a good sign. But still, 2 mistakes from Solberg in 1 heat. I haven't seen that in like years.
Ekström slots back in, unfortunately for him. Where is he? Is he behind Backward, or is it Nittisch that's in front? It's Nittisch who's in front, so Backward has jokered. He's now behind Ekström, so Ekström is still in a good position having jokered. It's going to be about where the top 2 go. There is Kenneth Hansen and Susan Hansen right in front of us on the spotters tower, looking down at Timmy. They'll be calculating when he's best to go, and yesterday Timmy Hansen's joker lap was perfect, and that was the difference between him beating Matthias Ekström, wasn't it?
Right now I'm totally impressed by Solberg's speed. Despite the contact with the wall, is catching up to Timmy Hansen. Of course, he's going to have to joker while Hansen is clear.
In he goes. Good call, Carl Nadeau. In goes Petter Solberg. Will he come out in front of Ekström? Ekström's got this, I think. He's got to shut the door. Solberg flicks it back the other way, so Solberg is in front of backwards, and now then it's going to come down to Timmy Hansen. Yesterday, with this amazing joker lap, he came in so fast, so late on the brakes and he just carried so much speed in, but he's going to have to do it again because behind him are Ekstrom and Solberg.
They're really pushing, but I'm surprised by the two Ford teammates. They seem to be struggling in the back.
They are off the back of this lot. Hansen, Solberg going across. Ekstrom takes a defensive line. This is going to play into Hansen's hands here. These two having a little battle. All they're going to do is hold each other up. Solberg looking to get the undercut on Ekstrom into turn 2. Doesn't quite get it done, but it was a nice effort. And now we need to see Timmy Hansen going into the joke lap. Here he goes. Not quite so committed as yesterday, but it's a decent joke lap anyway. I think he's going to do it. He is. Hansen out in front of Ekstrom. Another great drive by him. Ekstrom and Solberg holding each other up maybe on that last lap, but Timmy Hansen has got the job done again, just kept his calm and has managed to come out in front over the jump. He's just got the two right-handers to go. He'll come down to how fast he was. Stoll at the minute is the fastest in this heat, and it would be second fastest time from the whole weekend Stoll did in the earlier heat race here. The track in good condition, a drag race down to the line. It's Hansen, Ekstrom and Solberg. What's the time for Timmy? 3:24.7. It's the fastest time today. And looking back at yesterday, where is Solberg? It was a 3:24, so a 3:24.7. Yeah, it is the fastest time of the weekend. Fastest time of the weekend for Timmy Hansen, 3:24.707. Great job by him. Let's have a look at the result. Confirmation of that time, 3:24.707 is just a little bit faster than Solberg went yesterday when he won Heat 2. So great job, Hansen. Then it's Ekstrom, Solberg, backward and Nittish. So the Hansens have found something overnight. Brilliant, brilliant job by them. Here are the replays. Down towards turn 1. Look at this car. Brilliant job to control it on the brakes, but ran too wide.
Yeah, Solberg was very impressive, but Hansen has just a perfect line. He decided to hit the brake mark at the right spot. Didn't lose any time, didn't scrub any speed, and there he is. Joker lap at the right time, of course, super relaxed. He had so much space between him and the last guys.
And Ekstrom and Solberg maybe holding each other up on that last lap and handing the win to Hansen. Brilliant, brilliant times for them. Let's see who Neil Cole is with.
Superb drive there by Timmy. Talk us through it, and how important was it to have Ekstrom behind?
Of course, it's important, and also mentally after what happened in Sweden. So, of course, it's a good thing for Timmy to beat him now twice to show that yeah, he's fast enough. And we made some changes after yesterday and after warm-up. The car was easy to drive, but it was not fast enough. And now he said it's very difficult to drive, but I said you need to work for it. So you are quickest, so it's really good.
Yeah, you can't hand it to him on a plate.
No, absolutely not. He's not here on holiday, here to work.
Thank you, well done.
Thank you.
Let's see the standings after Heat 3. Who is in the TQ position? And it should be Timmy Hansen, because he was there overnight. There it is, an impressive performance from him with 2 heat wins in 1 and 3. Then it's Ekstrom, Junaid, Solberg, Backrud, Nittish, Kristoffersson and Stoll in your top 8. Faust, Heikkinen, Rustad and Markand are in. Timosyanov is just out. Well, here we've got some of our fantastic slow-motion pictures that we get at every round for us to have a look at exactly what's going on the circuit. Here we can see Johan Kristoffersson over the first of those jumps. Carl, those jumps are a little bit different to last year.
Very different, actually. Some jumps last year were really hard on the cars, but actually the first jump, we talked to Tanner Faust before, and he was telling us that if you land it with a little too much speed, it compresses the suspension completely, and it can be pretty rough with the car, just like we're seeing right there. So some drivers are going to have to lose a bit of time in order to save the car to make the full laps.
Kristoffersson broke 2 differentials yesterday on the jumps, and he's now said that he's having again to just dab the brake before takeoff. We can see Faust's car there as well, bouncing a little, just struggling to settle the car down. Here's Solberg, so much softer car. And let's look at this, the way the rear is now coming up on Solberg's car.
Solberg has probably the softest suspension setup of all the drivers this weekend, but it works extremely well for him. It makes him work hard on left foot braking, so you can see his pedal work is working extremely hard in the car to transfer weight when he wants it in order to get a lot of grip to exit the corners. So just like we see here, he's pointing the nose in the right direction, he's straightening the wheel on the gas, and you'll see a lot of weight transfer on the back of the car, so he exits like a bullet.
Absolutely brilliant driving from Petter Solberg. We've seen some stunning car control in Heats 1 and 2. Heat 1 he had a problem, Heat 2 he went out and absolutely blew everyone away, nearly 3 seconds. And Tom Markand here this weekend in a polo car he's familiar with, And he said that it sends him a postcard. He gets the information very early if the car is doing something, so he knows how to drive it. He's quite relaxed to drive this car.
Great weekend for Mark Lund. I could see the last year's Mark Lund actually during this weekend so far at GP3R. He's extremely quick, is committed, is really going hard in the corners. And you see the local star, Patrick Carpentier, on the track right now. Of course, he's struggling with a little less power than some of the other teams. So on the straights, it's really killing the speed for the car, but he's trying to make it up in the corners. So far he's doing pretty well. But yesterday he outbraked himself, so he did a major mistake, but so far so good. He really wants to be there for at least the semi-finals.
Here's Matthias Ekstrom sideways in the Audi S1. You can see there spraying the gravel from the back, but again straight steering on the exit. Despite the fact he's going sideways, the car is straight.
That's the only way you can get a decent exit and get grip. Like if you keep the wheels really turned, the car's gonna slide forever and not be able to exit the corner fast.
Great stuff as always. Lovely to see the cars in slow-mo. On to Heat 4, the first race. We have Louis-Philippe Dumoulin, Timur Timosyanov and Liam Doran. Ready to go, green flag. Timosyanov and Doran get away well. Dumoulin drops back a little way, but it's a drag race down the straight towards turn 1. Timosyanov is on the inside. Liam Doran is late on the brakes and just squeezes the door shut. Carl, that was a nice piece of racecraft.
Very good job from Doran. He hit the brake spot exactly at his mark. A little later, he would have slid off and Timosyanov would have the inside line. So good job by Doran so far.
Squeezed him nicely as well. It was kind of a polite squeeze, wasn't it? But Timosyanov decided straight away he wants to get out of the traffic. So he goes to the joker lap. Now it's going to come down to a race, really, isn't it, between Timur and Liam? Can Timur put in enough quick laps? I mean, if you were Liam, you could now joker immediately to counter that. What would you do?
I would probably joker.
Oh, Doran!
Oh,
Big jump.
Impact. Big impact on the front, and it's going to affect the front suspension. The front right seems to be a little out of shape. So hopefully he's going to be good for the run, but...
The front end of the car just exploded. I mean, you can see how thin the panels are. Look at the front right wing flapping around, but Liam's landed off the jump there, and the whole of the front end has just disappeared off the car. Look at that. You can see everything.
I can tell you that the flaggers told me that the carbon fiber used in those cars is extremely strong because it launched in the tire wall yesterday and it punctured it completely, the tire wall. They were struggling to remove the carbon fiber panel.
So the carbon is strong, although at the minute it's mostly over the track in Liam Doran's case. There's not a lot left on the front end. Doran here really needs a good time, so of course he retired in Heat 3 after Timosyanov spun in front of him. Bit of a shame for Liam. Front left wheel, I wasn't sure if it's a vibration or if it's just dirt on the tyre. It's hard to tell, but he really needs a top 2 time here and for other drivers to have problems. Carl, you know, with respect to Liam, the fact he needs other people to have problems, you know, it's out of his hands, isn't it? All he can do here is do his best to get a fantastic time.
Actually, he didn't seem to slow down because he's running a 49.2 so far a lap, so that's a fairly quick time. And even with the body panel flapping around, he's still flying on the track.
On a bit of a mission. Behind him, Timosyanov, we caught a glimpse of smoke pouring off his wheel as he came down the front straight. So not sure if not seeing it now. Oh, Timosyanov really wide in the barriers. Timosyanov clips the barrier, gets back on the gas, donuts the car around. Dumoulin gets past, that'll please the local fans. Timosyanov with a decent bit of showboating, but he made a mistake there, ran wide.
Yeah, big time. He was way too aggressive entering the corner and he stayed on the gas. Instead of trying to slow down the car to avoid tire wall, he stayed on the gas and unfortunately it led him straight to the wall. But poor Dumoulin in the back, NASCAR champion in Canada last year, 2014, he's been struggling with the car all weekend. They had overheating problem. They had problem with, they had to remove anti-lag basically to run the car colder a little bit. So for him, he's just hanging on, he's clocking some laps, he's gaining a little bit of experience, hoping to be there next year with a car that will perform.
Yeah, it would be great to see him back. And of course, JRM, we know the car can do the business, but this track very, very fast down the front straight with a problem with the engine as well. Wasn't going to go their way. Dumoulin still in front of Timosyanov, so he's doing a good job there, holding the Russian driver up. This isn't ideal for Timur because Timur is in 13th place. So he really needed a good, fast time here with that spin. I think Timmer might have lost his chance of making it through to the semis. He's still trying to have a look around the outside of the Mini. The Mini around 100 kilos lighter, thanks to using that 1.6 engine. Doran's going to take the checkered flag. Go on, far away, Carl.
It's going to help his teammate, Patrick Carpentier, because he's struggling to be top 12.
Oh, Timosyanov at the line, out-tracked him down the straight. Perfect demonstration of the difference, of course, between the 2 litre and the 1600. But, well, yeah, helping his teammate Carpentier, who, of course, is in 14th place, just behind Timosyanov. Good spot, Carl Nadeau. Let's have a look at the results from this one. Liam Doran with the win, Timosyanov in second, Dumoulin is third, and it's a DNS for Munich and for Linnerud. Well, we can take a look back at the action from race 1 of Heat 4. Liam Doran and Timosyanov down into turn 1. Great respect between the two drivers there. Just gave themselves enough room not to have contact. This was Liam over the jump that exits the horse trotting track. You could see an enormous impact on the front right. That fired off the entire right front side of the car, and then I think it's his own left wheel that tears off the rest of it, and it just disappears under the car. Timosyanov had a spin on the inside earlier on, as a spin on the outside there, got wide, hit the tyres, kept the boot in, span it all the way round, and Liam was left miles out on his own. It's going to be tricky for him to have enough, though, to make it through to the semi-finals. Race 2, Heat 4. Rainis Nitish, Anton Markland, Patrick Carpentier, Tommy Rustad and Christoph Bugger. Thumbs up from the marshals, we're good to go. Green flag. Long hold at the start there. Carpentier gets a great run, but straight away he's out-tracked by Markland and Nitish on the outside. So Nitish now is in the box seat down towards turn 1. Up the inside as well, it's Rustad having a look up the inside of Carpentier. Struggling just for a moment there as Rustad, of course, is making an appearance here for Munich Motorsport.
And Nitish locking the wheel before corner 2, that could have been a little dangerous, but he kept it tight inside line. He did a great job on it.
Round the right-hander, close to the wall, there they go. So Nitish leading. And Markland right behind. So Markland appearing here in the Polo because the Audi couldn't be repaired in time after that big crash in Sweden, and that does mean that EKS RX are not going to score any team points here because they've not bought 2 of the same car. So that's the rules, but it's great to see Markland here and competing, going well as well. Rainis Nitish, the Latvian star, out front. He'll be looking for a good time here. Where's Nitish overall 6th at the minute? He was 5th in both heats 1 and 2, but didn't do so well in heat 3. 11th place. And Tommy Rustad, a shout for him as well, of course, his first time in the Munich Motorsport car. He's here instead of Alex Danielson, who's otherwise committed this weekend. And Rustad, of course, has been going well in the European Championship, going well here for Munich Motorsport. Markland out to the Joker.
Smart move, actually, because he was holded by Nitish in front.
Runs wide, though, runs wide.
Hit the wall, actually, yeah. Touched the tyre wall there.
Yellow flag, so has he stopped? We can't see in the background if he stopped or not. Would be a big gap back between those two, and he has. Markland is in the wall and stopped. So what happened there? Just out-braked himself, it was hard to tell. No problems for these two though. Nitish from Rustad.
Markland was really aggressive during the first heat. Actually, in one heat he touched the wall twice, so here he is a 3rd time, but man is he fast when he's flying around the track.
He is indeed. Nitish left a little unchallenged. Rustad's managed to close the gap a bit. Neither of these two guys has jokered. So will Rustad go now? No, he decides to chase. A big hole on the way into that corner now too. You can see the compression on the front of Rustad's car, and that's affecting the line in here. It's going to slow them down a bit, but both these guys are looking pretty sure to make it through to the semis. Rustad is 11th. Carpentier is 14th, of course, and he needed a good time here, but he seems to be a little way off the pace.
And we talked to Tanner Faust before, and he was telling us that it's very hard to see the potholes around the track when you're in the gravel section with the jumps and everything. So if the track deteriorates a little bit, it's very hard for drivers to avoid the potholes.
Nitish continuing to lead.
very good job. Great racing line. He doesn't slide around the track too much. He hits his brake mark at the right time. Very good job. And he's going, of course, for the Joker. This is the last lap, pretty much. Yeah,
it is the last lap. Perfect job by Nitish.
They have plenty of time.
Rustad a little bit sideways behind him. We'll say they'll lose a couple of tenths per lap, thanks to Markland's car being parked where it is. And is that the last we're going to see of Markland? Where was he?
And Markland's car actually affect the time, because they really have to pace themselves exiting the corner with Markland's car on the outside.
Key as well is that Anton Markland was in 12th place. Behind him was Timosyanov, who we've seen spin as Nitish takes the win from Rustad. And then, of course, local driver Carpentier, who was still waiting for to come round to the line now. So we'll have to wait and see which of those three guys is going to make it through in the 12th place. Rustad was in 11th. I'm pretty sure that performance will secure his place in the top 12, and of course the semi-finals. But a bit of jeopardy around 12th, 13th and 14th spot. Who is going to make it through and who is going to go out? They'd love to see Carpentier go through here, local driver, of course. Let's have a look at the results. Nitish with the win, 3:27.1. Not as quick as we've seen in the previous heat. 3:24 was the winning time there. But Rustad, Carpentier, Brugger and Markland with a DNF. That's where they slot in. Nitish, fastest in this heat so far. Crowd enjoyed that one. Here's a look at the action again. Down at turn 1. Nitish up the inside. Markland tried to brave it around the outside. There was Markland. What happened there, Carl?
Just a little too much speed. He tried to carry a lot of momentum in order to do the best time possible, but it was just a bit too much.
Ends his heat in the wall. Will that be where he ends his weekend? Nitish around the right-hander, taking the win from Rustad. RX returns to Trois-Rivières for a second year, and the drivers and teams took a chance to meet and entertain the fans downtown. As ever, it was a good excuse to make some noise on the Canadian streets.
We took the cars out to the centrum and yeah, waving to the crowd, signing autograph, taking the draw on the stage. Just a great day before a busy race weekend, actually. Yeah.
The Canadian fans here are strong automotive racing fans. They love their car racing. They love their local heroes. I mean, Carpentier can't walk anywhere through Three Rivers here. So it's going to be an awesome weekend.
I love it. I mean, I think it's one of the greatest sports. I'm a TV analyst here for the Rallycross all year long. So we show all the events and stuff, and the last one was spectacular. I thought it was fantastic.
For sure, last year it was a fantastic moment. I mean, the whole team has been fighting really hard, and I was really a big part of the team since my dad was running it, and I was spending a lot of time working for the team, and then to come here and we get all three cars into the final and I get my first podium finish of the year. It was pretty amazing, I would say.
Yeah, that was kind of a dream last year, you know. I never expected to make it all that far, but this year's going to be tough. You know, last year was one day, so anybody that broke down was eliminated, you know, because we ran out of time. So this year is 2 days, so it's going to be very different, and everybody has time to set up the cars. A lot more, I say a lot more Peter Sahlbergs involved this year with Ekstrom coming also, and you got a lot of guys that are here. Timmy Jensen seems to be on fire lately, and so it's going to be very hard this year.
For sure, this year I hope for a much higher wrestle than last year. Canada is a great event. I really like the high-speed corners, going into slow corners, and we have proper gravel. Last year it was a bit soft. No, they have made it much harder. It will be more consistent, and for sure I'm aiming for a final. I think my main goal is now to try to win here in Canada and put some pressure on Solberg. Maybe I can gain a little bit in the championship and try to define my podium.
Well, the car is really agile, seems to be very quick through the low-speed corners, and even high-speed. It was fun to drive. The only concern I have here is a long straightaway, and we're a little bit down with the 1.6 engine. So we'll see how it balances out, but I love the car, so we'll see how it goes.
Me and Reini is trying our best to keep Wolfsburg MSC in the front. It's really hard. The championship level is so hard now, and I mean, yeah, we got to push every race.
Heat 4, race 3. Let's see how they line up for this. Davy Genet, Andreas Backerud, Tanner Faust, Robin Larsson and Topi Heikkinen. That is a very impressive grid lineup indeed. There's Kenneth Hansen looking down from the Iron Spotters Tower, where we are as well, up on top of the building here in Canada. Who's going to be on top in this one? It's a great start by Backerud. Away from the line very quickly indeed. Tiny bit of contact there between Larsson in the background, but I think Genet is on the inside right down to the brakes. Who's going to break the latest? It's Genet. Oh, he's sideways. He locks it up. Genet goes wide. Faust into the back of him. Backerud makes it through now. Oh, and it's Heikkinen who's going to try and come at the inside of him. So Heikkinen comes out of all the carnage in first place.
Absolutely brilliant move by Heikkinen. He was there, he looked at everything, and he decided to go for it, and it was a clean pass. It was absolutely beautiful.
Genet in the back of Backerud around the outside. We can see that both Larsson and Faust have gone to the Joker lap. Not the tiniest of jokers from them, but again, they lost out in turn 1. They really had to go there if they want to make any kind of tactic for this race.
They just had nowhere to go, so might as well hit the Joker right away and try to clock fast laps one after the other. But the fight in corner 1 was absolutely impressive.
It was fantastic, wasn't it? Genet looked like he had it on the inside, but again, just that little bit too late on the brakes, and then helped a bit with a tiny bit of contact from behind. In the background, we can see Tanner Faust is trying to outdo Larsson down the straight. But out front, it's Heikkinen leading from Backerud. Genet
trying to break inside in corner 1 is extremely tough. We've seen Solberg try it also. It's so dusty on the inside line that it's pretty much impossible to slow down the car in time.
And of course then you're on the tight line too, so you compromise for your exit, but he had to try, didn't he, Genet, from where he was on the grid. Difficult, I think, to pass here. We've seen a few people try on the gravel section. Of course, we're missing one of the jumps from last year, which has definitely opened the circuit up. We saw Liam had a go earlier on, but he got a warning from the stewards from tapping the back of Markland. Over the curbs and down the straight again. These three way out in front. Have they got enough time, do you think, when they go to their jokers? Again, we see in the background Faust trying to pull out the slipstream. If they go to their joker now, you think they get out in front? I mean, I think they've got a big enough gap almost.
Actually, Heikkinen might as well stay on the regular track and clock good laps one after the other. And I'm quite surprised by the fact that he's got a clear track in front of him, but he doesn't want to run away that much from Backerud. So might as well take the joker for him. And talking with Backerud earlier, he was telling me he loves the asphalt track. He loves how fast it is and how precise you have to be in order to go close to the wall without touching it. But he's not a big fan of the jumps we have here in Canada.
Just a bit too hard for the car, he thinks.
Yeah, big time.
Heikkinen around the two right-handers.
Genet's doing good behind, though. He's gaining a bit of time.
There's Toppy's spotter, and next to him, Kevin Hansen. Those guys are on the opposite roof, and they're looking down at turn 1, of course. And Larsson with a problem in the background. Larsson with a problem in the background is slowing. That'll be game over for him this weekend. He was already 18th place, would have needed a miracle to make it through, but a disastrous weekend for him.
Looks pretty tough behind for Tanner Faust also.
Both these two into the joker lap. David Genet has lost the element of his rear wing. Look at Genet's rear wing as he comes through, and you'll see that he's lost the top element. They come out in front of Backerud, but Backerud's up the inside of Genet. Genet shuts the door on him.
Pushing.
Great car control though from Genet as well there, even with a tap in the back. Faust gives it the big send in the background, but Heikkinen's going to take this one. They've all jokered. Genet's rear wing again. Some of the guys saying they think the landing from the jump possibly is harsh enough to do that to the wing. Heikkinen's going to win though. Checker flag is out for him. How fast will the time be? Heikkinen, Genet, Backerud and Faust. 3:26 is pretty impressive from Heikkinen. 3:24.707 was the benchmark in the previous heat from Hansen. But a good run all the same from Heikkinen, and that will see him, I'm sure, in the semi-finals. He was in 10th place. There's Larsson. So Larsson's cruising back into the paddock. Good win for Heikkinen. Neil Cole is up in the Iron Spotters Tower, and he's with Heikkinen's spotter now.
That was a very impressive win there. What was the secret to that victory? Was it one move?
I think the secret was that we were struggling a little bit in the early weekend. We were breaking the parts, and the car wasn't the best as it could. But now we got the car as best that it can, and now Topi was in the mood to push because he knew that he needed to now make the result to really get the good place in the semis. And now we need to see how the other guys in the last heat are doing.
Thank you, Kiitos.
Thank you.
Here is the result of Heat 4, Race 3. Heikkinen with the win from Genet, Backerud and Faust, and Robin Larsson continues a difficult season. There's how they stand in Heat 4. Heikkinen goes to the top of the table with the fastest time. Genet in third. Genet currently in third overall as well. See the replays down towards turn 1. Genet was just too late on the brakes, and then again he got a little tap from Faust there.
Faust thought he had a clear track. He was going for it. Unfortunately, Genet went in front of him, so there was a contact there, but fortunately all the cars made it through. Joker, of course, for Genet, and Heikkinen went right in front of Bakkerud. He was trying to make his way there, but Bakkerud was smart enough not to turn the car around.
Yeah,
so
and
that
get a
was
warning
a good
from
move.
the stewards. Good win for Heikkinen. Final heat race of Heat 4. Here are the quick boys. Timmy Hansen, Matthias Ekström, Manfred Stoll, Petter Solberg and Johan Kristoffersson. Hansen and Ekström on the outside as they kink onto the straight. But on the inside, as they get down to turn 1, will they still be there by the time the drag race is finished, or will Solberg or Kristoffersson manage to get the drop on them? Stoll goes backwards at the start, but the other four are pretty equal. They're closing the door on Stoll. Stoll got caught in a sandwich there, absolutely nowhere goes. Solberg squeezing across to the inside, but Hansen's there. Can Hansen get it stopped? We saw Genet ran wide. Great job, Timmy Hansen. Ekström's going to have a look up the inside down into turn 2, but somehow Hansen managed to get the car stopped on the dirt on the inside car. Very impressive indeed.
Very good job from Hansen, and basically he could have turned in a little sooner, but he decided to turn in later, which made Solberg have nowhere to go. That was very smart from Hansen. Good move there.
Solberg and Kristoffersson. Kristoffersson in the background into the wall. So Solberg and Kristoffersson there. Solberg was a bit sideways. Kristoffersson went up the inside and then tapped the wall on the exit of the Joker lap. But those, and then Solberg himself a little bit sideways. Fantastic car control. They flicks the car through. Carries so much speed out of the stadium section, Carl. It's so narrow there, but his driving style just enables him to get on the gas early.
Solberg's pushing really hard right now. He's got the Joker lap done. He's going to try to get closer to the other guys. So basically right now I think Solberg is in a good position.
Solberg looking strong. Hansen out front with Ekström behind him. These two, of course, continuing their little grudge match from Sweden after Hansen made that incredible pass on the last corner. Wasn't allowed. And then here, Hansen's got the better of Ekström a couple of times. Ekström then to the Joker lap. So Ekström Jokers now. Stoll and Hansen in first and second, the only two not to done. And Ekström's got in front of Solberg. Great job, Joker at just the right time. So they've got in touch, haven't they, the spotters, and said, look, if you don't go now, Solberg's going to get you.
Yeah, that was very, very tight and close. That's just racing like we love it.
Stoll there, very sideways, landing off the jump.
Solberg very aggressive behind Ekström.
Now remember, last time out, Heat 3, these two guys had a fight between themselves, held each other up, and Hansen was left clear out front to be able to put in the laps he needed to do to come out in first position, winning the heat with the fastest time of the weekend. Said the car was harder to drive, but it was faster. Of course, we heard Kenneth say he's not here on holiday, so if it's hard, basically it's tough, it's faster, you've got to get on with it.
And it's smooth sailing right now for
into
Hansen
the Joker,
in front.
into the Joker from Hansen, comes out. His Ekström's going to be alongside, but Hansen's done it as well. Perfect, so exactly the same thing for Hansen. He covers Ekström, Ekström covered Solberg. Bang, 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 3 laps in a row, they're all through.
Very, very good run so far from Hansen, but Ekström behind him seems to be really aggressive. Is he going to try a move, or are they going to go for the time? Let's see.
It's got to be the time, hasn't it? But then with these three, we know that the three of them are quite competitive, let's say. Fastest lap of the day there for Petter Solberg, 48.091. But not a lot you can do to get past Ekström. I say these guys, they're all so desperate to beat each other. There've been little niggles going on in the background between them in the paddock.
And Solberg is using his tire to the maximum limit. He's smoking the 2 left tires on acceleration after corner 1. So it might affect the final if he's going through all the tires right now.
Be interesting to see what his tyre strategy is. We've seen him a couple of times this year use the same set of tyres all the way through quali and then put new ones on for the semis or the final. But not sure. We'll try and find out before we see the semis what the tyre tactics are. Ekström having a look up the inside, but I think it's just showing in the mirrors. Solberg, rear quarter of the car, explodes over the jump. So the side of the car is off, but it's not going to make any difference mechanically. Solberg is going to come through in third. Ekström is second, but Hansen takes the win. What's the time? It's a 3:25.4, so not quite as fast as he was last time. But I think it's enough to win the heat overall. It is. So Hansen is going to win the heat overall. That's going to be 3 out of 4 for him. The only other person to have done that this year is Genet, of course, who won in Germany. Here's the result. Hansen, Ekström, Solberg, Stoll and Kristoffersson. Great drive there from Timmy Hansen. That, of course, is his third from 4 heat wins. Neil Cole is in the Iron Spotters Tower right now, and he is with Susan Hansen.
Susan, that was a very impressive drive. Not just quick, but clever and quick.
Yeah, and it's totally mind-blowing. Did you see that action? And he was under such pressure, both from Matthias and Solberg. He took the joker on the perfect moment, and he was just stepping on that throttle.
Well done. We look forward to the semi.
Thank you.
Well, we can see the replays from that fantastic last heat race of the day. This was down in turn 1, and didn't he do a fantastic job, Carl? Timmy just managing to get it stopped, where his teammate Genet didn't get the job done in the previous heat.
One of the closest corner 1 we had all day. That was absolutely beautiful. Every car escaped the corner in one piece. That's great.
This was Kristoffersson into the wall on the inside. He didn't really feature after that, so maybe some damage on the car. But this was what was so impressive. Hansen had responded to Ekström, who'd responded to Solberg. The 3 top drivers using a different joker strategy, and that was how they finished the race. Qualifying over and done with after 4 heats. Let's see how they stand. Timmy Hansen then with the TQ from Matthias Ekström, Solberg, Genet, Nitish, Backerud, Heikkinen and Stoll. Faust, Kristoffersson, Rustad and Timosyanov is in. Despite those problems, semi-finals, the odd numbers go to semi-1 and the evens to semi-2. So it's Hansen and Ekström, the rivals from Helios, are on pole in the 2 semi-finals.
So there's repairs going on, an amount of damage limitation going on here at SDRX. That is the car of Petter Solberg. Is a little bit wounded, but it is in the semi-final. How was that last heat? A bit of damage there.
Yeah, it happened from the start. You know, I was starting to pull away a little bit, and then I got the car on the side in after maybe 150 meters, and I started to go sideways in the straight, you know, on the fast straight. I was pushed on the side, and I think Manfred climbed over my wheel, and it was not very good. So then I was pushed out of Hansen in the first corner. So I'm very happy with the 3rd place. It was easy to get the puncture there also in one corner. So I'm happy. Well, 3rd overall after what's happened in the first heat yesterday. So now I'm looking forward to the semi-final.
A quick question about tyres. What's your strategy been? Because you're certainly, that rear left is really smoking.
Yeah, I tried to push quite hard to get to be sure I got the, you know, on the top spot in the semi-final, and it doesn't matter, you know. Even if I have worn tires, I can drive fast with worn tires. It should be okay. And they increased also the World Championship now after the 4 heats. So that is always the first aim, you know, of the weekend.
Thanks, Petter. Now, if we have a quick look over here to the right, we can see the damage to Liam's car, and go out and have a quick word with Liam if we can. Just quickly. So, must be disappointed this weekend.
Yeah. Very disappointed, yeah. It's just not come together for me. We had problems from the start with the car, and sort of have been on the back step since. And but yeah, it's hard. The sport's hard. Everyone's fast, and we didn't do a bad time in the 4th heat, and basically had half a car after the crash I had with Timo spinning in front of me in heat 3. The team did a great job to get it back running, and half of the bits were still missing. So to be in the top 10 with the car I had I'm happy with, but it just wasn't enough. You know, 2 DNFs out of 4 heats isn't acceptable as far as I'm concerned, and you're not going to get through doing that sort of stuff. So myself to blame, probably. Need to knuckle down. These things happen, and my favourite track's coming up next, and I've done well the last 2 years there, so I've just got to keep positive and look forward to doing that.
Just quickly, obviously Petter's through to the semis, and he's also team boss. Has he said anything to you since the last heat?
No, I think normally we only talk when it's positive, so that's why he hasn't said anything, because I'm sure he's only got negative things to say, and I wouldn't blame him. You know, at the moment I've let the team down a little bit, so it's frustrating because I know that's not me, and I know that's not the level I should be driving at, and yeah, I'm just trying to keep calm and, you know, look forward and stay positive, because you can't let it get on top of you, you know.
See you in hell.
Thanks.
Semi-finals are approaching. There are the drivers lined up, being introduced to the crowd. All hiding their nerves fairly well, but I'm sure they're excited about this, as I hope you are at home. Rustad there for Munich Motorsport, making it through to the semis. Good performance by him. But I think what we're all looking forward to is the battles between Hansen, Ekstrom and Solberg at the front. Semi-finals on the way. Stay with us. Sunshine here in Trois-Rivières in Canada for round 7 of the FIA World Rallycross Championship. We've seen 2 days of brilliant action, and it's culminating on Saturday night for the first time. Last year we did it all in 1 day. This year we've spread it over 2. Very, very much looking forward to this. Here is where we've been so far this season. Well, we're on round 7 of 13, so absolutely bang on the halfway point. Of course, the first time we've left Europe, over the Atlantic and to Canada. Trois-Rivières, the famous race circuit, street circuit adapted for rallycross. A few changes this year, and they've been fantastic. My name is Andrew Coley. Neil Cole, as always, is down in the paddock and the spotters tower reporting for us. And alongside me is Carl Nadeau. Carl is a TV commentator over in Canada, but more importantly, a bit of a racing legend himself. Carl, we've had a great weekend so far. What are you thinking?
It's been an excellent weekend. The changes made on the track paid off. The driver seems to love the racetrack right now. The jumps are a bit smoother than last year, so more speed, but more speed means if you make a mistake, you're hitting the wall faster.
And we've had a few people hitting the wall so far, I can tell you that. Well, Neil Cole earlier on managed to catch up with Matthias Ekstrom, who of course is on pole for semi-final number 2. So we can have a little chat with Matthias now.
Matthias, the car looks ready for pole position of semi-final 2. Are you ready?
Yeah, I feel pretty ready. I mean, anyway, the jet lag starts to kick in now for me because I had too few nights, but it's time to switch on the fighting mode and get it done.
You will have a Peugeot Hansen alongside you, but it won't be Timmy Hansen. But the prospect is on for you two to meet again in the final. It's quite exciting.
Yeah, I mean, I know first thing comes first, and semi-final with Davy and Bakarud, Stoll, Kristoffersen and Timur. So I know they are always, any heat here is really tough. So try to nail a good start, a clean first corner, and then see where we can take it from there.
Good luck. Thank you.
Cheers.
Well, good to see Matthias is ready for action. If he's a little bit tired, I'm sure the adrenaline will get him through. We've had plenty of adrenaline so far this weekend. Let's have a look at how qualifying panned out over the last 2 days. Well, it started with misery for Petter Solberg. A problem with his engine. They changed it as a precaution. And then when he got it to the grid, he had a big problem. Not ideal for Liam Doran either. His teammate broke his suspension over the jump and into the wall. As I said, plenty of visitors. This man on the left, Timmy Hansen, though, was absolutely flying, and he won Heat 1. Petter Solberg in Heat 2 took revenge. He was on a mission, went about 3 seconds quicker than anyone else had gone. Everyone was a little bit worried, but the game has been upped today. On board with Timmy, he made it through to second, and that meant that he overnight was top qualifier. Johan Kristoffersen, you saw him a moment ago with the wheel hanging off in the background. Made amends this morning. Him and Larsen back out. Unfortunately, not so good for Larsen later in the day. This was Timosyanov and Doran. Doran getting tangled up with Markland. He got a penalty later on, and a bigger penalty, unfortunately, when Timosyanov spun, and Liam could do nothing to get out of the way. Hansen won Heat 3. Great job by him. That was Petter Solberg down in turn 1, tried to go up the inside of everyone, but it didn't work out. Timmy on an absolute mission, responding to the pressure from Ekstrom and Solberg and going the fastest anyone had gone all weekend. Liam Doran doing the most damage anyone had done all weekend in one jump, I think. Landed on the front right, ripped one corner off, ran the whole of the other corner over himself. Timosyanov span again, got on the gas, donutted the car round. Crowd liked that. Liam made it through to the finish, but didn't make it through to the semis, unfortunately. Brainis Nitish, the Latvian star, doing very well again today. And Tommy Rustad too on his one-off appearance for Munich Motorsport. Down in turn 1, there was some contact, as always. This was Häkkinen coming back in front of Genet. Backward having a look up the inside, but nothing could be done. And then again, it was on to the top drivers. Kristoffersson tapped the wall. Hansen set the fastest time on an absolute fly-up. He held off Ekstrom and Solberg. Brilliant job by him, and he is TQ. So 16 points for him. Ekstrom, Solberg, Genet, Nitish, Backward, Häkkinen, Stoll, Faust, Kristoffersson, Rustad, and Timosyanov all make it through to the semi-finals. There is how they split. Semi-final number 1 sees Timmy Hansen on pole, and semi-final number 2, Matthias Ekstrom. Looking forward to seeing them meeting in the final. Stunning weather here, sunshine, a decent crowd as well. We've got our own weekend, of course, this year. Last year we shared it with the rest of the racing. We've had drifting and drag racing demonstrations as well today. But this is what we've got coming up for you. So first of all, of course, we have the semi-finals live for Supercar. The top 3 from each of them will go through to do battle in the final. Then it's the RX Lights final live, the Intercontinental Cup. And then we have the Supercar final. Who is going to win round 7 of the World Championship? Well, Neil Cole has managed to catch up with our other pole sitter as well. He caught up with Timmy Hansen earlier on. Let's see what he had to say.
Timmy, the sun is starting to set here in Canada. Very exciting for the semi-final. You're in pole position. What's the strategy?
I think we have done really good starts and really good runs all the week. Even if we haven't got a few starts, we come out second, third, and had the pace to win. So no doubt that I can do this again. And I just have to keep calm and focus on doing the same thing.
Now we're set up potentially for a grandstand finish, a grudge match, a replay of what happened in Sweden between you and Matthias Ekstrom. Would you like that, a chance to prove a point?
I would like to prove a point that I can win races. So it was so close, last time, and I actually crossed the line first. So I know how to do it, almost. But now I have to do it in the books as well. So I'm really, really motivated now.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you. Good luck.
Timmy looking relaxed. Cars are lining up on the grid. And that is Timmy Hansen on pole. Lining up the last of the cars. Neil Cole, meanwhile, has managed to catch up with Timosyanov, who just squeezed through to semi-final number 2.
Well, the grid's lining up for semi-final 1, but you're in semi-final 2. How are you going to play it?
Yeah, I had a very bad start. I think outside on the line on position number 6. I need to do something. We are waiting for the first corner. What's happened there? It will be really tough for semi-final. It's a really good driver scene, and speed will be really high. We will see what's happened.
Good luck. Thank you.
Thank you.
Timmer ready to go, and semi-final number 1 is nearly ready to go as well. As the sun sets here in Trois-Rivières, the action is set to continue. On pole then, Timmy Hansen. Alongside him, the world champion, Petter Solberg. Row 2, Reinis Nitish and Topi Häkkinen. And row 3, Tanner Faust and Tommy Rustad. Well, I'm excited for this. The marshals are ready to go. Carl Nadeau is alongside me, smiling away and looking forward to getting underway. Waiting for a thumbs up from the marshals. Green flag at the back. There they go. The marshals are off the grid. Look for the guy at the back with the green flag. Great start by Hansen. Solberg's gone backwards. Nitish looked like he's alongside him. Häkkinen's going to try and go alongside too. Solberg, though, now out-dragging them all down the straight. Moves across on Hansen. Hansen's on the dirty side. He's in the wall. Solberg puts Hansen in the wall. There was no room there. It's Timmy's car in one piece. Solberg spun round. Back across in front of Hansen. Hansen's suspension broken. Hansen's right front. He's hanging off. The world champion is in the wall. What is going to happen now? So Nitish is going to go into the lead. And Nitish is in the wall now. Hansen can do nothing because his steering is off the car, I'm sure. Carl, what on earth is going on there?
Who could have planned that? That's absolutely incredible. The two top guys that were expecting to lead that run, everybody's in the wall right now. Of course, Tanner Faust, running third, is probably kind of happy from what's happening, but that's so bad for Timmy Hansen, who was leading the whole time. He was so quick, so precise, didn't do any mistake today. That's incredible.
I have to say, I don't think Petter gave him enough room. You can't push someone into the wall completely. You know, I'm not them. Maybe I'm not fit to judge that, but you know, you can't. And there's Nitish. Nitish retires as well. So some of the top drivers have gone out very early there. What do you think, Carl? I mean, Timmy was alongside Petter. Yeah, he could back out, of course, but he wants to get into turn 1 first too.
Actually, they were pretty much side by side. Timmy was on the slippery surface, so basically you cannot really steer left or right. You just keep your racing line, you go straight. Maybe Peter Solberg didn't have a call from a spotter, so he didn't know that Timmy was there, didn't see him and turn him on Timmy Hansen. But that's the only thing, because Solberg is a clean driver, so I don't think he would have
done it on purpose. No, you're right. He doesn't hit people on purpose, but yeah, not enough room either way. 6 into 1 didn't go, and we've lost 2 of them as a result. Hansen and Nittish are out. So leading this semi-final at the minute is Tommy Rustad on his one-off appearance for Munich Motorsport. They weren't expecting this, were they? Brilliant drive by him. Of course, he's doing a great job at a Markland Polo in the European Rallycross Championship. Faust hasn't jokered either. Looking at the screen, Heikkinen has and Solberg has. You may have seen a shot a minute ago, Solberg. He's just gone past the commentary position. He is a full half lap back, but of course anything can happen yet. Faust has gone into the Joker, so they have now all jokered, and it's Rustad, Faust and Heikkinen. So I think Heikkinen might be through into the second position. He is.
Yes, Faust kind of struggled when he took the Joker. He was extremely slow on the way in. His car was really drifting sideways, so maybe he lost a lot of time. And of course, Heikkinen is the happy guy about it.
Now what about this? Rustad, on his debut for Munich Motorsport, he's on the back of the grid. He's gone through in 11th place basically and ended up on the back of the grid. He's leading semi-final number 1. He might be going to stick this on the front row for a round of the World Championship, but he's one-off outing.
The racetrack is extremely fast on the asphalt section. It's really seemed to suit Rustad's style. So for him, so far so good. Of course, he didn't expect the crashes in front, but you know what? That happens, that's racing, so he's going to make the best out of it. But Heikkinen is more and more menacing in the back, so maybe Heikkinen's going to run and try to get first place.
A little bit of pressure. Yellow flags are out, and that'll be for the stranded car, I think, of Nittish, because I think Hansen's car is out in the middle of the track. Rustad continuing to lead from Heikkinen. He's just got to keep it out the wall, and we've seen plenty of people haven't managed to do that, or Solberg could sneak through. Solberg, so far, in the history of the World Championship, Solberg's just set the fastest lap of the race. Thank you, Carl, pointing at the timing screen for us. But Solberg has qualified for every single final that the World Championship has ever had. He didn't make it to the start grid in Finland, of course, last year because he had the problem. His run of podiums this year ended at the last round in Sweden when he ended the final in the gravel trap, but he might not make it through this time. Solberg is in 4th. And Rustad is leading from Heikkinen. Heikkinen right behind him. We've got a lap to go. Faust is there as well. These guys, if I was them, you know, would you expect your spotter maybe to call you and say, don't drop it? Solberg is still going.
Yeah, of course, the guys are going to give their all. Of course, they want to be top 3 at least, so they're going to push and push and push and push. And Solberg still on the track, extremely fast. He just did a 48.855. He's like a second faster than most of the other drivers on the track right now. So Solberg never ever gives up.
No, he doesn't. He never ever gives up. Absolutely. One of his favourite sayings, along with 110% absolutely flat out, which is the other one, which is what he's doing now. Solberg around the 2 right-handers. I don't think he's going to make it. He's already done well in the championship because he beat Kristoffersson considerably in qualification. But we're on the final lap with just the gravel section to go one more time.
Definitely not the best weekend of Tanner Faust also in the back. We usually is a lot quicker than that. He's very aggressive in the front, and this weekend thing doesn't play out the way he wants.
I think he's got used to the beat, hasn't he, from American Rallycross and back in the Polo. He's going to make it through to the final, which is better than last year, because last year he didn't even make it out of free practice. But semi-final number 1 is going to go to Tommy Rustad, one of the front-running European drivers, becomes one of the front-running World Championship drivers, followed by Heikkinen and Faust go through. And for the first time, Solberg does not qualify for the final of the World Championship. Great job, Rustad. First time one of the Munich Motorsport cars has made it through to the final. Thumbs up from the team. They're pretty pleased, aren't they? Playing it down, but that was a great job. And Rustad's come out that with barely a mark on the car. I mean, I can't wait to see the replays and see just exactly what happened in turn 1. Here's the result of semi-final number 1. Tommy Rustad wins from Topi Heikkinen and Tanner Faust. Solberg doesn't make it through. Hansen and Nittish are DNFs. Now we're going to get a look at some replays then, Carl. There's Timmy. Banging on his head. He is not happy. Okay, he's going to go over. What's Petty going to say? Well, we're not going to see it. We're not going to see it. So there was the contact at turn 1. And then Petty then turned. I don't know what. It's hard to judge. We'll have a look at it. We'll have a look at the footage, and I'm sure there'll be more talk on social media over the next few days about what happened there. Nirtish there, completely just the innocent victim, and there was nothing Hansen could do about that. His steering was broken already.
When your two wheels are pointing in different directions, somehow the car decides where he wants to go.
Tough gig. This was Rustad coming out in front of Heikkinen, and that was how they finished. Absolutely great job by Rustad, who in Munich Motorsport's first final in the World Rallycross Championship sticks it on pole. Timmy Hansen down with Petter Solberg. So now they'll just be having a chat, and we'll have to, yeah, Timmy saying, what are you doing, Petter? Petter, I'm sure, will be apologetic. He wouldn't have done it on purpose, I'm sure. There you can see Petter in the car. He's saying what happened from his point of view. You know, what can you do? But, well, Neil Colt is up in the spotters tower, and he has managed to get hold of the Munich team, who are going to see a car in the final for the very first time.
What a story. His first race for the team. Tommy Rustad, from the back of the grid, wins semi-final 1.
Yeah, how about that? It was just unbelievable. Starting from the back of the grid and sorts it out, crashes in the front, and he's just lucky to get in the front there. But he had done some good lap times here now. We are really happy to be with Munich Motorsport. They are treating us really well. And to get these results with this car, I mean, a semi-final was a bonus for us. And now we're in the first row in the finals. How about that?
It's incredible. Well done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great job by them. Hansen has finished his conversation with Solberg. There'll have been an explanation. We'll see if we can find out what happened and get the... we're going to get another look. We're going to get another look now, I'm hearing. So we're going to have another look at down turn 1. Carl, have a look at this and see what you think. So
Timmy was on the really greasy, dusty part of the track. There was nothing he could do, but actually he left racing room to Solberg. So the only thing I can see is maybe Solberg didn't know that Timmy was there, and he just turned in to clip the apex. And you know what? The apex was Timmy there.
Yeah, it was. And Solberg's car, they were both on the dirty line, weren't they? So in fact, looking at it, both the cars were moving around. Maybe it's a little bit unfair of me to say that Solberg didn't give him any room, but Timmy obviously thought the same and has gone to see him. Petter, I'm sure, has explained himself. You say he is a very clean driver. He never runs into people when he's behind them, but all the same, that hasn't worked out for Timmy. That's a shame.
You know, it's one of those days where it's better not to have audio between two drivers when they talk.
We're going to have another look then. We can see one more angle of that start. Here we go. So this is Hansen out of turn 1. The right wheel, I think, is possibly... Oh, and then bang, look at that. So again, that I find hard to understand why Petter's turning across him, but...
It is so hard to judge. At that speed, 3 wide, all the extremely fast driver, and the track coming to corner 1, the speed you carry in corner 1, and after an impact when the wheel starts to lose the perfect alignment, it is so hard. Even if they're the best drivers in the world, sometimes, you know what, you can make mistakes.
It's a shame. It's a shame. I was really looking forward to seeing Timmy and Matthias do battle in the final, and I think Timmy had the pace this weekend. I have to say, yes, when Timmy won Heat 1 and then Petter went so much faster in Heat 2, I did think, okay, this is the Petter show again. But then Timmy today smashed it in Heat 3, you know, in Heat 4. It's him and Genet, the only people to have won 3 heats in a weekend. So it's another dominant performance from the Peugeot Hansen team. And we can see Genet there on the front row for semi-final number 2. But it hasn't ended the way they would have liked. Well, semi-final 2 lining up now then, getting ready to go. You can see the drivers are on the grid. I think we're still recovering vehicles from the track. We are from the competition. I can see that Hansen's car is being dragged onto the flatbed. Ekstrom down on the line. These drivers will be feeling a bit nervous as well, Carl, because they're waiting now. They're waiting.
There's nothing worse when it's sunny and warm like that to be waiting in the car when you're ready to drop the ball and go hard. It's so bad for a driver.
Just more and more tension, isn't it? Just building up.
You're ready to go in the zone. Your brain is ready. Like, all you want to do is hit rev limiter.
You just want lights out. When you're waiting to compete, I think in anything, you wait all day for the moment that it starts. When it starts, obviously the competition has started early in the weekend, but this is another start. This is the semis and the finals. It's the knockout stages, and you know, it's the pinch point for the pressure.
And it hurts to see the heartbroken Timmy Hansen on the track. Oh my God, he was doing so well all weekend. We're really expecting Timmy Hansen to be on the final podium. So for him, well, a victim of a racing accident. Let's call it like that, because it's very hard with the visual that we have to judge all the incident, considering that they were both on the dusty surface.
Well, Neil Cole is down in the pre-grid area, and he's managed to find the winner of semi-final number 1, Tommy Rustad for Munich Motorsport.
Tommy, an amazing result. You won semi-final 1 here in Canada. What was the secret? What happened?
Well, I think I win the lottery this time. There was a big war with all other competitors, and they was touching and pushing each other, and I was just going through between, so I was a bit lucky, but I was, after the first half lap when I was in front, I was just pushing away. I had focus on pushing lap times and go fast, and my spotter and the team gave me the right decision to go into the jockey lap. So everything works well, and I'm very, very happy for all include C.com Racing and Munich Motorsport, which give me the opportunity to drive this race. So I'm very, very happy.
Well, we know that you're fast, and we saw
That's the way it goes sometimes. There's Hansen's car being recovered. Of course, that was where it stopped, and that was where he had to wander across to see Petter Solberg. Oh, Hansen's car right on the edge of the flatbed. Take it easy, guys. This was Timmy. This was Timmy. Knocking on his head. Carl, you don't need to be, you know, a great psychologist to understand that he wasn't happy.
I've been in that situation before, where you look at the other driver and you're like, just why? Why?
Semi-final number 2 is lined up and ready to go. Here's see how they are on the grid. We'll have a look. Matthias Ekström is on pole with Davy Genet alongside him. Row 2 is Andreas Backerud and Manfred Stoll. And row 3 is Johan Kristoffersen and Timo Timosjanov. So can Genet save Team Peugeot Hansen's weekend? Is Ekström going to capitalise on this? Because he's been looking good. It looked like Ekström, Solberg or Hansen was going to win. Is this going to make the job easier for him? Green light, great start backward on row 2, gets alongside. Genet's got an absolutely fantastic start as well. Genet moves across, backwards right up alongside him. Backward has a look up the inside. Is there going to be contact between them or not? Stoll's going to try and come all the way around the outside. Backward holds on the brake late and keeps everyone behind him down towards turn 2. Genet in first, Timosjanov's turned round. Timosjanov's turned round in the background. No two, I don't think damaged, and he's away. Kristoffersen too, so Genet leading from Backerud, Stoll and Ekström down to 4th. Stoll straight to the Joker.
That's a clean and exciting start right now. Timosjanov so lucky to avoid the wall, spinning out of control where there's the funnel area between 2 walls. He was either lucky or extremely good.
Timosjanov has gone straight to the Joker lap. Stoll has as well, and you saw there that he came out, I think, in front of Kristoffersen, who hasn't jokered. So good move by him. That puts him in a very strong position straight away. But Davy Genet will be really, really keen to try and help poor Peugeot Hansen, who is standing up here on the spotters tower right in front of us, and he's just sad faces all round. So let's see if Genet can rescue their weekend. He's been quick, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's really, really quick this weekend. The racing circuit seems to suit his natural style also. So very quick on asphalt, but still manages to be as good in the gravel, the loose surface.
Yeah, he seems happy moving the car around. Ekström straight to the Joker lap. So Ekström obviously feels he's being held up by Backerud, and Stoll's going to get out in front of him. So now, if you're Backerud, do you then respond immediately, or is Stoll now too close? When do you Joker? When do you Joker?
It seems to have a good distance between Backerud and Genet. I would use Genet personally as an objective to try to get closer before taking the Joker in order to know what kind of gap I'm dealing with.
Genet down the straight has already got a fairly comfortable gap. Is it enough for him to be able to take the Joker? We're looking, Kevin Hansen and Eric Farren are right in front of us, along with Susan and Kenneth Hansen. They're all looking at the monitors, literally 6 feet from where we're standing. They're out in front of us. Normally in the on spotters tower, we can't see what they're up to, but it's fascinating to see how they're desperately trying to figure out, do they send Genet now while he's got time? No, into the standard lap. So Genet's going to do another lap and try and gap them. Behind, backwards, still going quickly. Maybe that's the issue. And then, of course, we've got Stoll and Ekström chasing them down.
And very different racing line from Backerud than Genet. Backerud is a lot tighter on apex. The wheels straighten quicker, but I'm not sure it's quicker than what Genet is doing, actually.
Ekström definitely being held up by Stoll here.
Oh yeah, that's going to be bad for Ekström.
I mean, Stoll's quick. You know, I'm not saying anything about his pace not being good, but Ekström's pace here has been exceptional all weekend. Genet dives on the brakes at the end of the straight. What's that braking zone like, Carl? Smooth?
Actually, it's fairly slippery since they're bringing a bit of dust from the infield section, and they're coming at 200+ kilometers an hour under braking. So talk about doing it with tires that can deal with gravel and asphalt. Under braking, the car is really upset quite a bit.
126 miles an hour, Solberg clocked down there. Ekström up the inside in the background, did a good job, got straight past Stoll, and now he's going to set about chasing them down in front. So do they now respond and send someone to the Joker lap? We're waiting for Genet and Backerud out front to Joker. There's Backerud. Don't know if he's got enough time or not. Ekström's fairly close behind him, but it's going to be about when Peugeot Hansen respond to this as well. When do they send Genet? I think they should send him now. I think they should send him now because I think Backerud will have to go to try and respond to the pressure coming from Ekström. What do you reckon?
Exactly. If I would be Genet, I think he took enough distance now. It's safer to do it now, while maybe later if he does a mistake or whatever, it wouldn't be the right timing.
Here we go. Genet goes to the Joker lap. Genet out wide to the Joker lap. Turns the 208 in beautifully. Back on the gas again. And there's nobody anywhere near him. Genet's out front. Backerud's going to get beaten by Ekström. And Stoll slots in just behind him. Matthias Ekström, fastest lap of the day, 47.6. Great job by him. Oh, and having a look up the inside again in the background, but no room. And who's that? It's Stoll. So Stoll's hit the tyres. The tyre bale is out in the middle of the track. Genet's got 1 lap to go. The spotters are going to need to warn him about that.
Big impact there.
So Genet down and into the long right-hander.
Still flying around the track. He doesn't hold back.
Absolutely brilliant job by him, isn't it? Absolutely fantastic. He's going to avenge Hansen's problems, but will he be quick enough in the final? We've seen how quick Ekström is. into the left-hander, Genet, and then into the right. There's the yellow flag, so somewhere in there we think Stoll's car is stranded, but these three guys are the ones who are going to go through. Brilliant drive by Genet, brilliant drive. Would he feel any extra pressure? And there's the tyre bail, so Stoll's clipped it on the exit of the dirt section. Would he have felt the extra pressure from Hansen having that problem, do you think?
Actually, Genet amazes me. The run he's doing right now is so incredible, and basically big thank to the Hansen's team.
Brilliant win then for Genet, avenges Hansen's problems. Ekstrom over the line in second place and Bakker in third. And there you go, nice to see a smile from the Peugeot Hansen squad as they leave the spotters area. Genet reaches up for the button on the radio to give the team an update. Here comes Timosyanov, so carrying some damage from that earlier contact. Will out of line in the background, and Kristoffersen too. So a few issues here and there for the people towards the back, but out front, a brilliant drive by Genet. And Ekstrom looking very, very fast as well. The top two in the championship are not going to make it through to the final. David Genet with the win in semi-final 2. Matthias Ekstrom is second, Bakker third. Then we've got Timosyanov, Kristoffersen and Manfred Stoll are going to go no further this weekend. Well, there you go. You know, never fails to amaze me how we get decent racing every single time. But that's World Rallycross for you. Neil Cole's up in the Iron Spotters Tower, and he is with Susan Hansen.
First of all, let's talk about David Genet. What an incredible clean drive and a semi-final win.
Yeah, he is so cool when he's on that mood. And you saw that he just was in himself, he just drove his race, and he delivered exactly what we needed after the disastrous first semi-final for us.
It was a disaster. Talk us through what happened from your perspective.
Yeah, from my perspective, Timmy had a clean, good start and was on his line. They entered into the first corner, and unfortunately, from my point of view, he was squeezed into the barrier, the concrete barrier, and there his race finished.
You maybe think it was an illegal move by Petter?
I'm not the one to judge, but I think it was very hard to be squeezed into the wall like that. There is plenty of room for both of them to go around that corner, so it's really hard. But now we have to refocus on Davy. We have a final coming up.
Thank you. Well done.
Crowd enjoying that, as we did as well. Let's have a look back then at some of the action from semi-final number 2. Well, this was them away from the line. Bakker with such a fantastic start from row 2. Genet out in the lead, and there was just a little bit of contact there between them, but they managed to get through clean, except in the background here. And that was Kristoffersen, I think, moving across and taking Timosyanov out, so maybe didn't see him.
It's very hard for the drivers to be going one-on-one, one after the other in that funnel, and good move by Ericsson. Just a little off tap, just enough to make the pass.
There was Genet around the outside of the Joker lap. And in the background, Stoll slotting out behind Bakker. This was Stoll's mistake. Oh, big flick, turned it in and boom, just into the inside. I knocked a whole corner off the car. Fantastic job by Genet. And it's going to be a fight between him, Ekstrom, Rustad, and a whole load of others in the final. Sun is heading down here in Trois-Rivières. It hasn't disappointed, has it?
No, it was an absolutely great racing day so far. The drivers have been absolutely phenomenal, and the changes on the track seems to be really good. And we asked Tanner Faust about the changes, and he said, well, you know what, I can't come in because last year I haven't completed a lap.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. He wasn't happy, was he? A little bit of cleanup going on out on the track.
There was a few crashes, so some cars lost fluid.
RX lights are on the grid, and they will be up next. The Intercontinental Cup, a one-off event for Trois-Rivières. Got to wave at yourself when you see yourself on a big screen, haven't you? You know, it's obligatory, I think. Now we have a look at the grid for the RX Lights Intercontinental Cup final, which is up now. On pole then, Oliver Eriksson with Cyril Raymond alongside him. Andrew Ranger and Alex Tagliani on row 2, two very good Canadian drivers, and Joachim Wahl and Alejandro Fernandez on the back row. Well, these guys are going to be away from the grid pretty quickly, and then we'll be able to have a decent chat about those Canadian drivers. No Canadians making it through to the finals, the semi-finals in the World Championship. Perhaps these guys can avenge that loss for the crowd, who go nuts when a good thing happens for a Canadian every time. RX Lights final, the revs are up, green flag, ready to race. And away from the line, a decent start by Ericsson, not so good by Raymond. Raymond is going backwards a little bit, but Ericsson has done a fantastic job. He needs to move across and shut the door on the inside, or is he just so confident? He does. He sweeps across just at the last second. Oh, it's going to be tied down into turn one, more contact again.
Between the two Canadians, actually.
Yeah, well, that's no good, is it?
Not exactly.
Well, talk to us about these Canadians. You know more about them than me, Carl. I mean, these we're not talking about amateur drivers here, are we?
Actually, Alex Tagliani had the pole at Indianapolis 500. It just says a lot. NASCAR driver, IndyCar driver, and Oranger, it's the same. He won everywhere he went. Canadian champion. He raced in Formula cars. He's the youngest guy in the history of IndyCar racing who podium at his second race. So Andrew Ranger is just pure talent. He won a lot of time the NASCAR Canadian Tire Championship. Two great drivers.
Now, he hasn't done any mileage really in this car, and he's been absolutely fantastic. He was the TQ man, winning 2 heats overall. That says a lot about the guy's versatility. Wonderful drive from Ranger.
He actually discovered the car yesterday at the first practice session, and he was already fast. He was setting fastest time one after the other. Extremely quick driver, and he's got a facility to adapt to anything, including motorcycle racing.
Now in the background, Val, Fernandez and Tagliani have all jokered. And third place man, Ranger, goes into the joker lap now, and he's going to come back out. So nice job by Ranger. Ranger immediately puts himself on for a podium. I think Tagliani, with those problems, his first lap was a minute, so he lost around 9 seconds on the leader. That did include a joker, but that's only 2, so probably a 7-second loss on the first lap for him. But these two guys going at it, hammer and tongs, both in OMSE coloured cars. Ericsson, of course, the youngest son of Andreas Ericsson, the boss of Ford OMSE, the World Championship team. Done a fair bit of mileage in these cars. He led here last year until he crashed, 16 years old. He's doing American lights and also Swedish lights, so he gets plenty of time in the car. Behind him, Cyril Raymond. He's been a French Super 1600 champion, and he's been a Supercar winner in France this year as well. So these two guys, you know, they're going places in Rallycross.
Actually, Raymond is really, really smart. Instead of trying to attack Ericsson left and right, he just stays behind, and they're trying to clock fast lap, because the last thing you want is having Andrew Ranger with you when you exit the joker. So those guys are really, really running a smart race right now.
Oh, sideways there, out the last corner from Ericsson, manages to avoid the wall. Cyril Raymond is being backed by the French Rallycross Federation in his career to make it up towards the top echelons of the sport. Thank you to Hal Rich, the Autosport journalist, for that information. He's a top man, often up here in the commentary box with us, keeping an eye on all the action. Not a bad Rallycross driver himself either. Ericsson still leading this one.
Fastest time for Ericsson, but Ranger is a few tenths of a second from his time. So if Ranger starts to be aggressive,
Raymond into the joker, but I think he's run wide there on the brakes. He looked really late. Ranger's going to threaten him on the exit. Can he get the cut back and try and get up the inside? Raymond's got a problem. The rear left corner, you see the tyre was smoking there. So is Ranger going to be able to get past him? Listen for the crowd if he does, because they go mad if he does anything good.
Ranger is extremely quick in corner one under braking, so if he does an attack, that's corner one.
Around the long right-hander, you can see the car sitting down and just pouring one of those front wheels in the air. So Ranger trying to get a run on him down the straight. Raymond's car looking all right now. The wheel was definitely rubbing when he was in the gravel section behind. Val is now having a look at Ranger as well. And the only guy who hasn't joked is Oliver Ericsson, so he can stay out front and hopefully pick his moment.
I don't know if Ranger went through all his good tires in the practice sessions, but he seems to slow down a little bit, and it's highly unlikely that he does that.
Ericsson through the joker lap, back out in the lead. It's going to be a clear win for him, doing a fantastic job But Ranger, I think, is at least going to take a podium spot, and that will set the local fans off. Why are they so passionate? I mean, this is a special event, Carl, Trois Rivières, but the fans, and I mean that, you know, the Canadians, if someone else goes off and a Canadian goes through, the crowd go mad. They love it when anything happens. They're so passionate about it.
Yeah, we're crazy about motorsport. We get Latin blood, so basically we just love motorsport, but Trois Rivières is a very special event for every racing fan in Canada. That's where we're the closest to the driver. The pits are always open. You have time to talk with everyone, know more about motorsport. So for us, the best racing event, it's not even F1, it's here in Trois Rivières.
Trois Rivières is a cracking venue. It is an absolutely fantastic venue. Ranger looking dangerous on the last lap. He'd like to have a look at Raymond.
Ranger loves to play in the mirror of other drivers. He's feeling the mirror, left side, right side, left side, right side. He's really trying to make him nervous. That's a typical NASCAR move. Just a few love taps to say, hey, I'm there, hey, I'm there, don't make a mistake.
Rubbing's racing, isn't it? You know, Rubbing's racing.
Exactly.
I think Raymond is going to manage to hang on to it, but Ranger is going to grab a podium spot. Out front, Oliver Eriksson has done a fantastic job. He wins the Intercontinental RX Lights Cup over here at Trois Rivières in Canada. Second place goes to Raymond, and third place goes to Ranger. And you can hear the crowd applauding in the background. They're very pleased about that. There's Eriksson, he's chucked it sideways. Raymond does the same. Celebratory donuts, that's what we like to see. Good lad. Get that man a supercar. We like decent celebrations. That's what we want to see. Waving to the crowd. Good job. All right, here's the results. Oliver Eriksson with the win. Cyril Raymond is second. Ranger takes third. Canadian on the podium. Then with Val, Fernandez and Tagliani. Well, you saw all the action earlier on. Neil Cole has managed to go down and catch up with Petter Solberg.
Petter, it's been a long time since we haven't seen you in a final in World Rallycross. Talk us through what happened from your perspective.
What can I say? We came down the straight and like normal, we are flat out. Then I was passing him, and I looked over to the right, and I go very slowly into the right, braking to turn into the corner, and then there he came. And then through the right-hander after he pushed me out, I kept flat, and I looked over to the right. I couldn't see anything, and then I just spun around. I don't know, it must have hit me in the back or something, but very boring. Yeah, it's very boring, and yeah, it was a hard impact from the back, that's for sure.
Okay, we'll let you recover. Thanks, Petter.
Yeah.
Well, Petter may be seeing it a bit differently than other people are, but there you go. When you're a racing driver, you have to interpret things in your favour always, you know, and that's what he thinks. That's fine. We must remember as well that these guys, look at that, Eriksson being greeted by the team. Absolutely chuffed the bits. That's lovely to see. Ford MSC mechanics heading over to congratulate him. But yeah, you know, until they see the footage, they're not really in a position, are they, to say, look, this is what happened. And sometimes when you see the footage afterwards, you might have to put your hands up and say, it wasn't how I thought it went.
You know what, sometimes between racing driver, we say action is very different under the racing helmet.
Neil Cole is down in the holding area, and he's with our RX Lights winner, Oliver Eriksson, so we can hear from him now.
Sorry to get you back out of the car, but it's worth it. It's your interview because you've won here in Canada. How does it feel?
It's incredible, you know. I felt great first day, lost no speed. On second day, the other guys catched up a bit, and I think I found it now again. They did great starts all weekend, and couldn't be happier.
Eriksson very pleased with his result. Well, here is the grid then for the final of round 7 of the FIA World Rallycross Championship. On pole, Davy Genet. Alongside him, Tommy Rustad. Row 2, Matthias Ekström and Topi Heikkinen. And on row 3, Andreas Backerud and Tanner Faust. Well, it's not the front row we were expecting, that's safe to say. Ekström there on row 2 for me is the danger man in terms of pace. Genet was very quick in his semi-final, but Ekström was held up a little bit. It's going to be fascinating to see how this pans out, and if they can all make it down through turn 1 cleanly. Because if they can't, behind them we've got Backerud, who of course maintains the record of being in every single final this year. Final time. Who's going to get away clean? Oh, Matthias Ekström did, and he had to dip the clutch. Gené's got a great start. Heikkinen up the inside of Rustad. Gené's going to move across and try and close the gap. Baccarat has done. Ekström on the way down to turn 1. Baccarat's on the inside of Rustad. Is he going to see him? Heikkinen goes around the outside. Gené, though, is on the inside. Heikkinen's alongside him. Heikkinen moves across and shuts the door. Rustad is in third. Brilliant start by Gené. Dreadful start by Ekström.
Move of the start for me is Heikkinen. He came back from all the way outside and was able to get the second place. Oh, 3 Joker right away.
Rustad, Baccarat and Ekström. But I'm not sure from Ekström's point of view that was a good idea if he wants clear air. These guys are quick, but he's just maybe stopped himself a chance of getting up towards the front. But Heikkinen's in there. Davy Gené gets the Monster Energy Supercharge award. He's the man who makes it down into turn 1 first. Sweeps around the right-hander. And then on the gas down the straight. So 5 laps to go so far. Jokers, Matthias Ekström, Baccarat and Rustad.
And right now, Gené and Heikkinen are extremely fast. They're not menacing each other. They're not side by side or anything. So they're going to go so quick right now, while the 3 guys in the back are really losing time.
Well, I think this has definitely played into Gené's hands. Massive jump on the way into the dirt section.
That's where you break your car.
Yeah, he needs to be careful, Just play it steady. Rustad and the guys in the back there have all jokered. None of the front 3 have. So now Faust going to be key. Faust doesn't seem to quite be on the pace of the front 2. If he ends up holding those up behind him, Heikkinen, look, he's up behind Gené, but he's not going to do anything silly yet.
Actually, Rustad seems to be catching Faust, so that's dangerous. Faust hasn't jokered yet, so for him, it doesn't look good for the rest of the race.
It doesn't look good for the guys behind him, though, either, because if he holds them up, then they don't stand a chance of closing the gap. And at the minute, if these front 2 jokered, I think they'd be ahead of the 3 that have jokered so far.
Exactly. Well, Heikkinen, if he gets a little faster than Gené during the race, might as well joker a little bit before Gené and try to get a clean track in front of him and go as hard as he can. That's exactly what he does right now.
Heikkinen straight to the joker. So Heikkinen straight to the joker. Faust coming around the standard lap. Oh, and Heikkinen's going to come out in front. So we know in the background, Baccarat into the wall in the background. He ran wide. Did Ekström push him? I wasn't sure, but either way, he's off the back of that pack. Gené is pushing really, really hard. So we know if Gené jokers now, he'll come out in front of Heikkinen. So do you go early, or do you try to put in those fast laps and gap them and go again, Carl? What's the tactic? There's Timmy Hansen looking down. What would he do?
Actually, the problem is Faust, because if Gené jokers and Faust is in front of him, Faust is actually slower than he is. So that might be a little hard for a pit strategy right now.
It could mean then that the others will catch up with him. 48, as we say that, Faust does a 48.222, does the quickest lap of the final. So there you go. Commentator's curse.
He hates it when we say that he's slow.
He does.
That's standard Faust.
He responds immediately. Spot got on the radio and let him know. So Faust there in second place on the track, hasn't jokered. And Gené in the lead hasn't either. Gené using every inch of the road on the dirt section. He really is throwing the car around. Heikkinen looking racy. When Faust goes, Heikkinen's going to come out in front. I think Faust is going to end up dropping back behind Rustad. So we could see Rustad headed towards a podium. But for me, this is all about the tactic of Davy Gené and the Team Peugeot Hansen team. Heikkinen's going to be pushing so hard because he knows. Oh, Ekström with a spin. Ekström with a spin. That's coming off the gravel section. So that's Ekström out of the question, definitely. He was up behind Rustad. So it's going to come down to where Faust comes out as to whether or not Rustad ends up on the podium. But when is Gené going to joke? Is it going to be this lap? Here we go.
I think he's in good shape right now. He's really in good shape.
He runs the car out wide, turns it in. Faust goes with him. Faust responds and goes with him. Gené comes out and he's in front of Heikkinen. Faust comes out alongside Rustad. Oh, so close between them. Rustad has a look up the inside there. Almost contact. And just taps him up the back. Faust is currently on for a podium, but Gené out front is under pressure from Heikkinen. They've got a lap to go, but all the jokers are done. If a Canadian doesn't win here, surely a Frenchman is better for you French Canadians, isn't it? If we can't have a Canadian win, we'll go for Gené.
May the best driver win, because the show is absolutely extraordinary. And Tanner Faust was telling us that he had some problem to adapt between his American car and his European car. And so far, he seems to have found all his marks and is on fire right now.
Great job by Faust, races game. It looks like he's on for a podium. He's scoring points this weekend as well for the Markland team in place of PG Anderson. So Heikkinen in second place, but Gené is out front. He doesn't have far to go now. Rustad is just going to miss out on a podium, which is a shame. but it's still a fantastic performance by him here. There's the left-hander to go, Heikkinen. Is he going to have a last dive look? We saw that in Sweden. Gené's going to defend on the brakes around the right-hander.
Might as well brake early to make sure that you protect the corner. Good job by Gené.
Gené powering out of the last corner. He won in Germany earlier this year. He takes his second win of the season in Canada. Heikkinen in second place. Faust crosses the line in third. The team Peugeot Hansen have gone bonkers up on the spotters tower. Even Timmy Hansen is smiling. Look at Gené, looks really emotional in the car. Brilliant, brilliant drive, Davy Gené. Take a bow. Neil Cole is up on the spotters tower and he's with the Peugeot Hansen team right now.
What an emotional final that must be for you, and great win for Davy Gené.
Yeah, I mean, after the semi-final with Timmy, the air went out, but then, you know, you need to recharge and come back, and David made a brilliant job in the semi, and then this run in the final, it was just marvelous. We needed that.
You definitely did. Well done.
Thank you a lot.
Relief there from the team, and not surprising after what happened to Hansen earlier. Great to see smiles from them. Wonderful, wonderful recovery from Gené. Rescues their weekend. Here he comes now. Let's have a look at the results of the final for round 7 of the World Rallycross Championship. Davy Gené takes his second victory of the season. Topi Heikkinen on the podium in second place and Tanner Faust in third. Rustad, a brilliant performance by him on that debut with Munich Motorsport, one-off drive. Bakkerud maintains his record of being in every final and Ekström in 6th. We can hopefully now have a little look back at the final. There is Gené's car heading into the scales just to check that everything is legal. Battles car's down the back of Heikkinen's car. And that's the run down to turn 1. So Heikkinen was looking like he was going to try and get a look at this down into the second corner. Heikkinen aggressively moving across. Ekström had a dreadful start and he just went backwards, Carl.
Haikkinen's commitment was absolutely impressive in corner 1 and 2. He was at the extreme limit and past the limit, and with such car control he was able to secure second place, and that unfortunately Bakkerud hitting the wall. That's pretty much what made an end to his podium hopes.
Not so good for Bakkerud. This was Gené coming out in front of Heikkinen.
Plenty of time, plenty of space.
So no space as well, but then between Rustad and Faust. Great job by Faust, who just seemed to find that extra pace in the final. Maybe with the seat time during the course of the weekend, he just found his feet with the Polo again. Of course, he took a brilliant victory in that car.
And for him, it was a brand new track.
Yeah.
He didn't run last year.
Yeah, he didn't run last year. Great drive by him, of course, in Finland when he took a win in the rain. Rustad congratulating Gené. Fantastic drive by the Frenchman. That almost looked like a sigh of relief there, Carl. Just a little one at the end there.
It's one of those races, you look at the laps and you're like, is it the last one? Is it the last one?
Yeah.
I really want to win this. Great job.
Yeah, great job. Absolutely fantastic.
And honestly, there's something I want to mention. Timmy Hansen was right beside us when Gené won the race, and he was truly happy.
Yeah, he was.
You didn't see any mixed emotion or anything. He was so happy for Gené.
And it could have been him, couldn't it? It could have been Hansen, but as you say, just equally happy to see a great job by his teammate Gené. We can have a look back at the start. So away from the line, look at Ekström. You can see dips the clutch, Carl. Shocking start, and then look at him going backwards. So Bakkerud's got the jump on him. Bakkerud moves across now. That's definitely committed Ekström to 4th into turn 1. But then Heikkinen braves it out around the outside, and he ends up 6th into turn 2.
And Faust was very conservative in the back, didn't want to have any problem. He fits in 5th place, but he was waiting for the opportunity.
Interesting chat with Faust yesterday. He was saying about driving standards and how he felt yesterday he maybe had been a little bit too kind. And then he thought about it for a second. He said, no, do you know what? Actually, I think I did the right thing. He said, I don't think I would do it differently. You know, a thoughtful driver and a great driver, Faust, in a lot of different disciplines. Fantastic to see him back doing a World RX racing. I hope we see him at a few more.
We had pro drifting as a support race, and you know what? He's a drifting champion also, so what a driver.
Yeah, exactly. Doing some, I think he's doing some laws as well, the off-road stuff, so a real all-rounder. Well, Heikkinen's just boosted it past us on the straight underneath the commentary position. I think those guys are heading down towards the podium now. They are. Davy Gené is hanging out the side of his car and waving at us as he comes past our position. And you're seeing some pictures of the very last lap. Rustad putting Faust under a bit of pressure, but it wasn't enough to take the position away.
But you know what? He didn't expect final and is fourth. So
Yeah.
that's really good from Mustad.
Yeah, absolutely awesome. Brilliant performance by him. Genet onto the last lap here. Look at that, diving on the brakes, just moving the car in a little bit. Lovely, lovely car control from him. Heikkinen smoking the rear left up through there too. Toppy on a big push. And here we go. Here we go. This is what we want to see. Genet down to the podium area. I wondered if he was going to go for some big donuts there, but I think he thought better of it. He'd probably get told off by the stewards if he'd done that. Slots the car in.
Pedestrians there.
Great job. I wonder if he's been given permission there to go and do donuts. I'm not quite sure. Either way, Genet very happy and climbs out the car. Yes, double fist pump, very happy indeed, and rightly so. They're trying to get him over to the podium as fast as they possibly can. Everyone's so happy. Look, the team are chasing after him. They couldn't stop and greet the team, could he? The stewards moved him on. Look at Tanner. Tanner is really all smart. Look at that. He loves it. Absolutely loves it. He's such a nice guy, Tanner is.
That's the first time I see him smile like that during the whole weekend.
Really, yeah, it's really cool. He's absolutely chuffed to bits. Remember, this guy's a presenter of Top Gear in America as well. He's in my eyes, a proper famous driver and still chuffed to bits with the podium. Great stuff. Neil Cole is down there in that enormous crowd of people, and he is with our race winner, Davy Genet, so we can get to hear the Frenchman's thoughts on a fantastic second victory.
Davy, what an incredible victory. What does it mean for you to win here in Canada?
For me, it's completely amazing. At the beginning of the weekend, it's very difficult for me, for the rhythm, and hit after hit, I increase my level. And now, semi-final and final, very good start and clean. It's very fantastic for me.
Especially good for the team after what happened with Timmy in semi-final 1. Did you feel any more pressure for that?
Semi-final and final is other race, and each weekend is difficult until final, and now Timmy pay cash this semi-final, and I hope in Norway he win also.
Félicitations, well done, merci.
Thank you.
Davy Genet, all smiles, and lovely there to say I hope that Timmy can win the next time out in Norway. And Timmy's been looking dangerous now for several events. They have really Peugeot Hansen on the march. Petter Solberg leading the World Championship from Andreas Baccarat now, who moves up to second place from Kristoffersen. Hansen in fourth, Genet in fifth. Those guys collecting points. You can see it's really open now between second and fourth place, and Genet chasing that down as well. The Peugeot Hansen drivers may be moving up those standings as time goes by. 6 rounds still to go. Neil Cole is down again in our big crowd of celebrating people, and he's got the second and third place drivers, Topi Heikkinen and Faust.
So first of all, Topi, congratulations. How was that final for you?
Yeah, it was really tough final. It was really fun. I finally had some speed on the final, and because we struggled a lot on the heats, and but yeah, it's good to be on the podium. Yeah, it's great.
Congratulations. And next to you, Tanner Faust. Did you imagine you'd be in the final, let alone on the podium coming this weekend?
No, it's a pretty difficult weekend, to be honest. And catching, it's really difficult to spot, I think. You know, you have a spotter telling you when to take the joker, and they can't actually see the whole track. So I was stuck in traffic for some of the heats, made mistakes in others. But in the final, had some clean laps. Really glad that Topi put in, his laps. He really deserved to be second place, but scored a third place unexpectedly, so I'll take it.
Well done, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, let's have a look at the team's standings. Team standings after round 7, of course. There is Peugeot Hansen. Very happy, and rightly so, because they are 2 points off Ford MSC. So Ford MSC leading the championship on 239. Team Peugeot Hansen on 237. You'd be a bit mad to bet against them at the minute. SDRX third, then it's VW Team Sweden, Markland Motorsport and EKS, who won't score teams points this weekend because of Markland using a different car. Well, here is a look back at some of the action from Trois Rivières. It has been absolutely fantastic. This, unfortunately, was Timmy Hansen's run coming to an end. We really thought that he was going to be the winner. Unfortunately, he took Nittish out after Solberg had maybe taken him out. Those two need to have another little look at the monitors maybe and decide just exactly what happened. Genet in semi-final number 2. Fantastic job. Came under pressure in the background. Timosyanov came under pressure physically. Got spun around in turn 2, but manages to recover and carry on. Hopefully we'll see the Russian back on top form soon. Ekstrom, that was the move on Stoll that I don't think we saw at the time, but he managed to slot it up the inside. And this was Stoll, unfortunately, slotting it in just a little bit too early into the corner and ploughing into the tyre barriers. Genet took the semi-final. Ekstrom went through in second, and we knew how fast he was, but at the start he ended up going a long way back. This was Heikkinen coming out just behind Faust, slotting in to the position in which he finished, backward hitting the tyres as well, but nobody could get near to Davy Genet out front. Faust, there was the moment at which he secured his podium place. My thanks to Carl Nadeau for being here again with us, local presenter and racing driver. Pleasure to have you along. My name's Andrew Coley. I hope you've enjoyed the weekend. This man certainly has. Davy Genet sweeping around the long right-hander and taking the checkered flag. Brilliant, brilliant job by Genet, who gets the victory donuts in. In 2 weeks' time, we'll be heading to Hell in Norway, and we'll be able to see who's going to take that one. Genet on the top step. Congratulations.